Captain Crunch, or maybe have different views of political ideas. And all those things are not blind to us. We know that historically when technologies emerge, they often are being used not just for good, but also for evils. But the thing is, technologies don't know what they're for. The steam engine didn't know if it's going to become a train that moves goods from New York to Los Angeles and helps things move faster, or if it's going to move Jews from a concentration camp in Germany to Auschwitz. So right now, the call is for people in the audience to become aware of those technologies, because what we learned is that when technologies emerge like this, oftentimes, if no one knows about them, it's used to create something that's not healthy for societies, at least in parallel to the good things. And right now we live in a world where a lot of the power of our brain is being exploited by companies to actually harness the knowledge from hackers like myself and from neuroscientists like myself to actually hack into your brains and make you behave differently in a negative way. Because we became the product of many of those companies. And there are many ways to know that, and I found one that I thought is really easy for me to remember whether you are the product or you are the customer. And the answer is, if you're not paying for it, then you're the product and not the customer. And the reality is that for most of the things that we are offered for free right now, our brain is a tool being used by hackers like myself to come between your desires and your outcomes and change things to make you behave differently. And technologies are really powerful in doing that, because technologies have the ability to manipulate the control of our brain in ways that we didn't anticipate further and that evolution didn't train us for. Here's what I mean by that. Historically, if people like you or me stood at the top of a cliff, let's say, and looked down, we immediately got scared, our heart was racing, we got really, really sweaty, and this was enough for us to know that we shouldn't jump. And those who jumped and fell from high, tall buildings didn't get to have kids. So evolution favored all the people who were scared, such that in our life, we are the descendants of all of those people who really knew to be afraid of heights. And our brain was trained for that. But now, we can create experiences that actually hijack the brain and go between those experiences, the fear and the decision, and actually create experiences that will make you do things that you weren't supposed to do. This guy was a and what he is experiencing is the right thing that should happen. His brain is scared. But the thing that happens right now is that as soon as he didn't fall, his brain learned something new, and in doing so, his brain is just rewired to not be afraid of something that should be afraid of. And the message here is that this is a small hack, not intentional even, that just did what I'm telling you. It came in between a feeling and an action, changed something, and from now on, this person is always going to be a little less scared of heights than he should do. So are his kids, his grandkids, and everyone he comes in contact with, because he's going to convey this change in our brain. Our brain is programmable, and if we don't program it ourselves, someone else will. And right now, we don't really know who are the people who do that, and we don't really have full control. Now, it sounds like I'm ending on a pessimistic note, but I'm not. I want to end with something optimistic. I started by telling you that our brain has many voices. And we only speak in the last one that kind of gets access to the vote of everyone. And we don't really know about all the things happening behind the hood. Well, the truth is that neuroscientists are now slowly giving us access to all parts of our brain. And they show us that there are many facets of identity that weren't manifested before, and that as we learn how to speak to them and listen to them, we'll know better how to align our outcomes with our desires. But it's really hard. It's hard because it's hard for our brains to grasp the fact that there are other voices out there that we don't really listen or see normally. And I tried my best to find ways to convince myself that we should just try to let the tools of neuroscience help us. And I found one analogy from my colleague David Eagleman that I think is helping me, and I hope will help you, change your perception of how you can believe that there are more than one person in your brain and let them speak for you. This is an analogy from 407 years ago, when Galileo Galilei pointed his telescope to the moons of Jupiter to see how they orbit the planet. He saw that the movement wasn't aligned with his equations. And so the only way to align the equations was to actually change the making of the solar system, to put the sun in the center and to put Earth as just the third planet from the center, and in doing so, everything would work out. And when he did this, he didn't just change some equation, he actually changed the entire making of the universe that he knew, because suddenly we could see far out into the horizon, way into the reaches of the universe that we didn't know existed before. And in the 400 years that followed, we expanded our view of the entire world through this change. Now, in the same way, in the last 10 years, neuroscientists are starting to see that in our brain we have many voices, and we might not be the most important one. We might not be the center of our own little universe. And this is tough for us to express, tough for us to believe, tough for us to grasp and to grapple with. This is like a dethronement of our identity. We're just one voice out of many in our head, and we might not even be the most important one. But in the same way that 400 years ago, this change in the making of the universe allowed us to see far out. Now, with this understanding of how our brain is broken down into pieces, we can actually start looking in and understanding the most interesting thing in the universe, which is us. Thank you.